Hi guys, so a couple of days ago I released a video stating why Microsoft should focus on exclusives at their Xbox showcase at E3 this year. A couple of days after that, it was announced that Microsoft had renewed Scalebound's trademarks, which kind of led a lot of people to think that Scalebound was being put back into development after being cancelled earlier this year. Regardless of whether this is true or not, it did lead a lot of people to create videos and articles discussing this action that eventually led to a lot of discussion within the comment threads of these articles and videos about why the PS4 is doing better than the Xbox One. A lot of people were stating that exclusives played a very small role in PS4's dominance over the Xbox One in terms of sales, but this suggestion kind of got me thinking, why is the PS4 exactly doing better than the Xbox One? In attempting to answer this question, I came up with 4 broad reasons as to why the Xbox One is lagging behind in sales. Firstly, the negative reaction to the Xbox One's initial announcement in 2013. So when the Xbox One was announced in February 2013, it was stated that it would be an always online console. The always online feature functioned as a DRM feature. Basically, with this feature, your console would have had to connect to the internet at least for a short period of time over a 24-hour period in order for all of your applications and games to function. The reason for this was that the licenses for your games and applications would be verified through connecting to the internet. Obviously, anything related to DRM and gaming sends most people into a frenzy of anger, and so obviously a lot of gamers made this anger known to Microsoft. Not only did these features take it for granted that most people had a stable and strong internet connection, but they also aimed at killing the second-hand game market. Basically, this feature meant that all games that one purchased, hard copy or digital, would be registered to one person's gamer tag, meaning that if you, for example, lent your game to a friend, it wouldn't be able to work on their console unless your gamer tag was on that console as well. Obviously, people were very angry about this. So angry, in fact, Microsoft took away this feature 4 months after it was initially announced. The argument as to how this may have affected the Xbox One sales is that even though Microsoft removed the feature, the negative cloud surrounding these features remained and made people choose to invest in the PS4 rather than the Xbox One. Now, some people say that this may have been due to the fact that not everybody is super into gaming media and may have not heard that Microsoft had removed these features. Then others, it suggests that it was more of a thing based on principle, where people were so angry that they decided that they wouldn't buy a console because the company even suggested something as stupid as that. The second reason people often point out when discussing the sales of the PS4 and Xbox One was that when the Xbox One and PS4 were initially released, the Xbox One was $100 or £100 more than the PS4 and was released in fewer countries. The PS4 was released in 32 countries on launch, and the Xbox One was released only in about 19 countries. I don't think people pay enough attention to this point anymore because the PS4 and Xbox One have received significant price drops. But it's important to note that the PS4 and Xbox One perform the same basic function. If you're a casual gamer or a gamer on a limited budget, you are going to probably buy the cheaper model. A lot of people argue that the reason why consoles are so popular is the price point. Although you may save more with PCs in the long run, the initial entry into the gaming market is much easier with a console because it's much cheaper than building a PC. If you're a person who's on the fence about buying a new console, you don't really know whether you want an Xbox One or a PS4, then the console with a cheaper price will seem somewhat more appealing. The reason that the Xbox One was $100 more expensive was that it forced you to buy the Kinect with it. A lot of people were also very angry about this. I mean, I don't even really care about Kinect. I've never wanted Kinect and only bought an Xbox One after Kinect was removed from the bundle. The second reason about price helping drive the sales of the PS4 goes hand in hand with the third point, which suggests that the PS4 runs games at a better graphical output. Now, this is a point that was extremely popular when the consoles were initially released, that 2013-2014 period, and has become increasingly popular again in the run-up towards the release of Project Scorpio. Now, this is a fact. fact, the base PS4 runs most games at 1080p, whereas the Xbox One mostly is only able to manage to run the same games at 900p. I'll say that personally, I've experienced more frame rate issues on the PS4 when comparing the games that I have on PS4 and Xbox One together, but the PS4 does have a better graphical output. Whether you can see this difference or not is entirely up to you. I don't really notice a difference between the base PS4 and Xbox One, but there is a massive difference between the PS4 Pro and the base Xbox One and PS4. Now, why exactly this goes hand in hand with the second argument is that people want the hardware that runs games in the best manner possible. Not everybody can afford a gaming PC or don't want to own one, and thus buying the console that runs games in the best manner possible is a good substitute, especially when this best option available is $100 or £100 cheaper than its opposition. If you're on the fence about buying a particular console, maybe you're the first one of your group of friends to buy a console and don't have a particular allegiance to Microsoft or Sony, why wouldn't you invest in the console that runs games supposedly better than its more expensive opposition? Now, the fourth point focuses on the fact that the PS4 does have so many good exclusives. Now, going back to the announcement of the Xbox One, when the console was initially announced, a lot of people made note that there was a strong focus in that conference on the media capabilities of the console, whereas games took a back seat. If you ask anyone, the reason they're buying a console often is because they want to play certain video games. And if you're a serious gamer, you want to know why I should buy this particular console. Why shouldn't I buy the PS4 over the Xbox One? And that's where exclusives become a very important factor. Simply stated, there aren't as many exclusives on the Xbox One, and recently a whole range of ridiculously good PS4 exclusives have been released, which gives many the incentive to buy a PS4. The question people often ask here in terms of exclusives is, would you buy a console on the basis of a particular game? Would you buy a console for one game? And the answer to that is simply yes. A lot of people do buy a console on the basis of one game. I think that Microsoft, out of all companies, should know that people will buy a console on the basis of a certain exclusive title if it is of outstanding quality. They have seen this with Halo and Gears of War. Why didn't they release significant exclusives for the Xbox One when it was first announced? Now, all of these factors have played some sort of role in the less impressive sales of the Xbox One. I think initially the negative reaction to the announcement of the Xbox One and its price point were the initial detractors for most consumers, but the console has been out for 4 years now, so this has definitely changed. A lot of people know that the Xbox One isn't an always online console, and it has gotten a lot cheaper than what it was when it was first announced. I think the new detractors for most consumers now focus on the fact that the PS4 has more exclusives, as well as the fact that it has a much larger install base than the Xbox One. Although the previous 4 reasons that I mentioned focused largely on factors that were present when the Xbox One was initially announced and released, one of the factors that has since developed from that, the fifth and new factor, is that the install base of the PS4 is larger. One of your friends is more likely to have a PS4 than an Xbox One, so you will be inclined to buy a PS4 in order to play with said friend. Personally, I feel that the fact that games perform better in terms of graphical quality on the PS4 may have been a reason that some bought the console over the Xbox One, but was likely not the case of the majority. I think a lot of people tend to forget that in the past, in terms of consoles, it's not always been the best and most powerful console that has sold the most, but the one that has provided people with the best overall experience. Perhaps a good example is that of the PS2. The PS2 outsold both the Nintendo GameCube and the original Xbox, but was the weakest console of the 3. I think that if Microsoft is to catch up in terms of sales, they do need to focus on providing an overall better experience, especially seeing that Project Scorpio is rumored to have a very high price. Microsoft needs to give people a reason to invest in this console. At the moment, with the current and upcoming lineup of Xbox One exclusives, I don't really think that this is true. They definitely need to create a reason to own the console, the same way that Sony has created several reasons to own a PS4. It does seem that Microsoft has seem to realize that most people are buying a console for the purpose of playing games as opposed to watching TV, which they could do on their smart TV if they wanted to, by introducing a whole load of new initiatives which are focused at the gaming audience, such as Xbox Live Game Pass and the promise of new exclusives. Will this be enough for Microsoft to turn the sales numbers in favor of their own products? Who knows, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. So why do you think that the PS4 is doing better than the Xbox One? Please share in the comments down below, and if you like this video, please remember to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.